Welcome to Voice Notes Suck with Jay and Dave.
Series 1, Episode 8, a series summary. We take a brief look back at Series 1 of Voice Notes Suck in a lighthearted way, while sharing some of the things we enjoyed and learnt. We hope you enjoyed our first series, we certainly did, and Series 2 of Voice Notes Suck will be with you soon. In the meantime, here's Episode 8 of Series 1, a series summary.
So, Jay, here we are. The end of Series 1 of Voice Notes Suck. This is Episode 8, and we're going to have a little roundup today. I'm really excited about this. I really enjoyed it. It's been a great process for me, and I always enjoy talking with you, Jay, so it's just another opportunity to do a little bit more of that. I definitely want to talk about how we've both found it, our experiences, what we'd like to do with it moving forward, and also some of the organisational stuff that we need to do to get this show on the road, so to speak, or at least on streaming platforms for podcasts.
It's weird this though, because technically this is the last episode and it's been running for no idea how long. So how does that work? Is it like Back to the Future?
Is it Back to the Future? I mean, maybe a little bit, Jay. Maybe a little bit. It's definitely an odd situation where, to the person listening to this in the future, it's going to be one continuous playthrough. But for us, it might be an hour, it might be a day. Heaven forbid, it might be 2 or 3 days, which may have happened on one occasion. Between messages. So having that kind of time disparity is one of the things that's fascinating me about putting this content out in this manner. You know, it's playing with the communicative forms that we've got a little bit, and it's interesting and it's fun, and then thinking about it kind of makes me smile.
Well, firstly, Dave, I just want to say it's also a joy talking to you as well, because you're lovely. And even now, just whenever you recorded this voice note, I can't even remember now, it's like it was only moments ago, darling. Moments ago you were speaking and then I was replying. And then Marty McFly came in and his photograph started fading, and a roundup. I don't even really know what a roundup is. I think the plan is to get this out, to get it on Spotify. It's probably, if you're listening on Spotify, fantastic. Not you, Dave, the people that are listening now in the future, but now is it the present? But that's the past when we recorded it.
So it's the present, like it's only ever now, Jay. But I don't want to get into our timeline too much. What's a roundup? A review? A summary? A synopsis? I just want to talk about how we feel this series. Wow, I keep calling things seasons. I'm being Americanized. I just want to talk about how we feel this has gone. Maybe a little bit about why we decided to do it, and whether we're going to carry on or not. I think. What's the right word? I think what we're essentially doing is a little bit of an experiment, and now this is kind of our conclusion. And the evaluation, if you remember the science experiments from school, the evaluation will come when we get it out on Spotify and any other appropriate podcast platforms.
Well, I think our conversations are informative, educational, fun. They're full of emotion, they're natural, they're real, they're honest. We're honest people. Like we said before, we wear our hearts on our sleeves. And it's a different conversation, having a conversation with voice notes. It's just got a different vibe. There's something about it that is engaging, and you don't know what's coming next, and there's no interruptions, and it's a flow from each person, so you can get the full hit of brain power and emotional expression.
I agree with all of that, and I think this format is a great opportunity to express with your heart on your sleeve. And it's interesting. I found it interesting because whilst it's a conversation, it's different to any other form of conversational content that's out there. There are a couple of things, like you can swipe left whilst you're recording to delete and go again. So you've kind of got the opportunity to edit in the moment if, you get a really disturbing noise, or you can't remember where you're going or what was said previously, or even what you were saying. So it's not like it's unedited, but once I've let go of this voice note, that's it. There's no coming back. So there's a lot of reasons that I'm distracting myself, and maybe I should swipe left and start this voice note again, but I don't think I'm going to. There are a lot of reasons that this is a really interesting content format, and I'm excited to explore it further.
Me too, dude. And I'd really want to get guests. I want to invite people into the voice chat, give a few ground rules, lay a few ground rules down, and say you can only record for X amount of time, no background noise, no mucking around, no re-record after re-record, and just get like guests in on the next series. If anyone's listening, they want to be a guest, I think they get in touch. It'd be well good. And we'll get in touch with people as well. You think that's a good idea, Dave? You think that's a good idea, Dave?
I stood on a creaky floorboard, so I'm re-recording this one. I'd love to have guests involved. I think it's going to take a little bit of work from us to understand exactly how that looks and feels, and how people hear it as well, how it plays back. So I think we should maybe look to do a special with a guest, maybe even two guests, and see how it plays out. I think our content for our normal episodes, like, we're really working hard to keep it between 20 and 25 minutes and not extend past that. I think with guests, we might naturally find that it goes a bit longer, and that's why I wonder if maybe starting them as specials is a better way to go.
No. Ground rules. If they go past 20 minutes, then we have to say sorry, we're just not going to use it, and we're going to tell everyone that you smell.
Yes, but a 3-person conversation will naturally elongate and take a bit longer than a 2-person conversation. So we either need to play the roles combined of one person, or we need to have some wiggle room to allow for these things to go a little bit longer.
Oh, I love the Wiggles. Great.
Is there a band out there called The Wiggles? And if there isn't, there should be. And if you're a aspiring / budding musician, maybe that's your band name. Take it before someone else does. Go on, The Wiggles. I really want to listen to that. I've distracted myself. What was I going to do? I was going to ask you a question about how you feel around that 90-second time limit.
Dude, the Wiggles are like the most classic Australian band for kids that have ever existed. You need to check out the Wiggles, dude. I can't remember what your question was now, and I can't stop this to listen back. It had something to do with 90 seconds. 90 seconds is a good length. I think it's too long, to be honest, actually. I mean, this is just heading up to 30 seconds in 3, 2, 1...
Listening back to them, I don't think it's too long. When I am recording them, I feel like sometimes it's too long and too easy to get distracted, and maybe you can ask too many questions or make too many points in that period of time. But I think when we play it back to have a listen, I think it sounds incredibly natural, and I think it is the right time limit based on how they sound.
Yeah, but my question to you there is, are you listening to it back normal speed, or are you listening to it back 1.5x or 2x?
I've listened in all 3 speeds, Jay. When I'm listening to do my summaries, I listen in 2 times speed. when I'm listening back to almost all of my voice notes. I do it naturally in 1.5 times speed. That's for people that send me voice notes normally as well. So I live on my voice notes in 1.5 times speed very often. But I have listened to a couple of our episodes in ×1 speed, and I still think that it's a really natural rhythm and flow, and it allows you to actually have a conversation rather than just bark points at someone.
Well, that's my natural speed, 1.5 speed. And I like it because I can still understand what's happening, and I don't know, I just... Are we in a rush? Why do we do that? Are we in a rush?
I don't know. I don't like the sound of my own voice in ×1. I wonder if that's something to do with it. I've got so used to listening to myself in 1.5 speed that I sound like I'm half asleep if I listen to myself in normal speed. Like, only on voice notes. I can quite happily listen to myself in normal speed on any other form of spoken media. It's a baffling thing the more I think about it.
I did read or hear somewhere that American people tend to listen to things on 1.5 speed if it's British, because British people speak slower.
That's interesting. It's not something that I'd have said. I wouldn't have thought of that. And I've hosted so many spaces, so many Twitter or X spaces, like hours and hours, days, maybe even weeks worth of content in terms of listening to people talk and offering my perspective and opinion. And I've never noticed that.
Yeah, it's common apparently. I was reading something about podcasts and creating videos and things like that. If you're British, and it does say that, you know, be expected for people, particularly in America, to listen back at 1.5 or 2 speed so they can understand you better.
It would be really interesting to find out from people who listen to this what speed they play it in. That's intrigued me. I mean, we can't ask them until we've actually put it out there, but once we've put it out there, maybe we should ask them.
But it is out there, Dave. It's out there right now.
I mean, I'm the person that says it's always now, so from that perspective, I guess you're kind of right.
You know, I'm listening to this voice note in the garden. It's sunny, it's beautiful, a bit windy, but it's peaceful, dude. And I really feel really grateful that we've been able to do this.
I'm grateful that you've got some nice weather, even if it is a little windy, and I did catch a little bit of that wind right at the end. We, down here in the southwest of the UK, do not have nice weather. I imagine it's windy, it's also rainy and grey, and a little bit miserable. I do need to get out and have a walk and get some fresh air today. I haven't done that yet, and I do that no matter what the weather every day. So if I end up getting a little bit rained on later on, it is what it is.
Wait though, because you're saying that now, but if you check the weather now, I bet it's not like that. Because anyone listening is going to check the weather, and you're going to be telling fibs, aren't you? Because it's not like that now, is it?
So there's a few things there, Jay. It has now stopped raining, but it could be raining when someone listens to this in the future, so I should be careful about how I phrase that. It's no longer raining in my moment of time. The sun even popped its head out from behind the grey blanket it's been hiding under for God knows how long. At least 6 months, I think, if you live in the UK. And do we need to have a whole issue, an episode? These are episodes, not issues, I guess. Do we need an episode on time and now and the present? Is that something that we should philosophically delve into in the future?
Yeah, I'm up for that. Why not? I do like talking about things like that, and I know people enjoy listening to stuff like that. So yeah, why not? Let's do it. How are we going to wrap up this overview? What I don't even really know what it is. Are we going to talk about what we've already talked about in all the other episodes, or are we just going to say, "I've been Jay, Dave's been Dave, toodaloo"?
I really enjoy those topics too. I need to make it clear that I'm not a trained physicist or anything like that. I'm just passionate about those topics. I think so. I listened to the first. I listened to the first episode, so it could just be a case of saying toodaloo. Really, I wanted to cover off any rules that we've implemented, but the main one is just the 90-second rule, which I quite like. Talk about things like the series length and episode lengths and stuff like that. So all of our series are going to be 8 episodes. I think you're happy with that. Please say if you're not. We're definitely set on the 20 to 25 minute episodes. We were going to talk a little bit about the other stuff maybe that we need to do, some of the organisational aspects about getting a series out there, but we could just sort of wrap that into another episode in the future at some point. Deadlines and organisation and stuff. And then a series name, which I don't know if I've already covered that off in this message or not. But we've spoken a lot about the digital community or in relation to the digital community. So I feel that this series is going to be called Digital Community, but again, could be wrong. You might have a better name for it. You might want to correct me on that.
No, it's called Digital Community, yay!
It took until episode 8 for you to play with voice effects, Jay. I thought you might have done it now that I know you can do it. I thought you might have done it earlier. I do this all through my phone, so voice effects are going to be a non-starter for me. That's a good question. So I'm guessing you have WhatsApp on your computer, or you have clever recording stuff that plugs into your phone.
This has really made me laugh, Dave. I was in a factory unit. It was the natural reverb from the factory unit.
That's quite funny. I wonder if I go into the wrong room in my flat, or my 2-story flat. Check me out. I might have the same effect. And I kind of really want to know what you were doing in an old factory unit.
Sometimes I just hang around in old factory units, pondering my life and just listen to the clanging and radio from the shuttered units and contemplate life.
Right, I think we've rambled enough. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, and then I'm going to ask you to ask me a couple of questions, and then I think we'll call it a day, or a series, or a wrap, or whatever we're supposed to call it when we finished recording. What's been the moment you've enjoyed the most? What's been your biggest learn? And if you could change one thing, what would it be?
Right, so I really struggle with 3 questions in one question. What have I learned and enjoyed the most? What did I enjoy? I've enjoyed all of it. I've enjoyed the format that we've got. I've enjoyed replying to you after a little bit of careful consideration and thought. And if I could change anything, I think it'd probably be just to do it even quicker than we have. And that brings me on to my questions. What have you enjoyed the most? What's been your biggest takeaway? And what would you change, Dave?
Well, one thing that I'll change is trying not to ask you 20 things in one voice note. It's been something I've been conscious of, but I'm going to try and be more conscious of it. My biggest takeaway and the thing that I've enjoyed the most is kind of the same thing, Jay. It was when I listened back to the episodes in full. And the moment I enjoyed the most was probably episode 2, when I listened back to that and really felt that the format was working or could work for other people to listen to. It felt natural, like it felt like a conversation rather than voice notes, even though you have the noises that say that it's the start and the end of a voice note. Maybe a little bit like you, maybe trying to do it a little bit quicker would be the thing that we could change. Is just from a format perspective, I think it works. The closer the conversation is between you and I, the better it works, in my opinion.
2 very, very good things to think about and take away, Dave. I really like that. Well, I guess this is a wrap then, isn't it? I've been Jay.
I guess this is a wrap. That's the end of series 1. Thank you so much for listening along. As Jay just said, Jay's been Jay, I've been Dave, and we'll catch you soon in Voice Notes Suck.
You've been listening to Voice Notes Suck with Jay and Dave.